Welcome back to RC Dirt Oval, the podcast. I'm your host, Andy Zeller, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking to Jeff Palmer from Loco Joe's RC Raceway down in West Virginia, and get some information on his background, and then get a little preview of what to expect for this week's Bunker Hill Nationals. Before we get to Jeff, we'll do a quick review of the weekend. The COVID cancer race from Ultimate RC Pit Stop was a complete success. They had 63 drivers and 103 entries. Very good turnout. Everybody had a great time. They raced Friday night as well as Saturday. And the fireworks display showed no casualties from what I've heard. So that is a definite plus and a win for Ultimate RC Pit Stop. Again, it's awesome to see the community rally together in support of anything that's bigger than RC racing. So for everybody to go out there and participate and be a part of that event, I wish I could have been there, but everybody had a blast and had a great time. So that's what it's really all about. So let's get right into the segment with Jeff Palmer from Loco Joe's, and we'll check back with some results after that. Alrighty, I'm here with my guest, Jeff Palmer from Loco Joe's RC Raceway, right?
Yep.
Raceway. Awesome. How you doing?
Good, and yourself?
I can't complain. We're here. We're living the dream.
Yes, sir.
So for those people out there that don't know you, you're Jeff Palmer. You own Loco Joe's RC Raceway.
Yes, sir.
And you guys are located where?
Bunker Hill, West Virginia.
Bunker Hill, West Virginia. When did you guys open?
2016, we opened up in Inwood, West Virginia. My father ran it for a while, and then I took it over about 6 years ago, and improved it since then. So
awesome. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to make it down for the first time this year, and we were planning on going down last year, and I think the race we were going to go to or whatever rained out, and it just ended up not lining up anymore. But certainly a unique track for our area. It's not too far from this area either. What is it, about an hour and 15, maybe, something like that?
About an hour and 15 from Carlisle. I think when I was down here last week to get the trophies, I think it was about 2 hours from here.
Okay, so 2 hours and an hour and like 15 from Carlisle. So not too bad. It seems scary. I think at first you're like, oh, West Virginia, that's so far, and it's really not. So easy to make it in the same day. We did that the last time we came down. And a very unique track, as I mentioned. So you have, first off, clay surface, which may or may not change next year.
Yeah, we're not sure. We talked about going to loose dirt, but everyone's loving the high bite side of things. So
right.
So might stay the same as it is right now.
Right, and no problem with that. The other cool thing about it is its shape, and it's like a tri-oval almost.
Yeah, it's like a egg shape. Turns 1 and 2, there's a 8-foot section straightaway between turns 1 and 2. Then when you're going down the backstretch, the wall actually comes in. So if you don't come out of the turn 2 right, the wall kind of comes quick. A lot of people, hit it and
stuff it there.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I did. For sure. Yeah, it's definitely a track that I think, like, when you first get there, you're like, what the heck? And then you start running and you start getting the hang of it, and then you find your spot where, like, you just lift a little bit and adjust your driving, and you figure out that sweet spot through 1 and 2, and then you're golden. Because 3 and 4 is like a normal turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a normal turn in 3 and
4. What are your most popular classes there?
Popular one is buggy street stock and short course street stock. The new Traxxas modified is actually picking up. I think last weekend we had five or six cars, so it's grown. Mudboss kind of dropped off, and a lot of purpose-built cars dropped off, but it's mostly a lot of Traxxas stuff. And short course street stock, you're allowed different chassis.
Oh, cool.
As long as it's short course based. So
Right. And I guess with the Traxxas modified and the different stuff that comes out from Traxxas, I mean, it always spices stuff up. I certainly, when they first came out, the Traxxas modified, I'm like, these things aren't going to stick. And, that was just my opinion. Seeing them, I was like, oh, there's stuff I liked and stuff I didn't like. And that was all based off like the pictures and stuff like that. And then I saw one in real life and heard one go around the track, and man, they're a ton of fun to drive.
yeah, that's what a lot of guys are saying. We had a similar class long time ago. We had the Midwest modifieds with the Traxxas slash low center of gravity chassis, and you ran 12 turn.
Okay.
So it was something similar. So a lot of guys liked it back then. And then we had a rule change, and kind of a lot of guys didn't agree with it. So a lot of guys kind of dropped out of it and faded away. But glad to see the Midwest modified back and actually be like a ready around big car.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's actually built really well. Like they added the heavy duty, front end and rear end components, and I mean, one of my favorite parts about it is those tires. I know the foams aren't really holding up the greatest from what I've seen and what other racers that I've talked to about it have seen. But other than that, I mean, they're really surprisingly nice cars. I think the price point's a little high, personally. I think it's a little bit of sticker shock when you see a number that high for like a Traxxas car, and you're kind of teetering. Granted, it's going to have all your electronic, all your components and everything in a box, but you're teetering close to what a purpose-built car would cost, and that's a little discouraging, I'm sure, for some people. Yeah. Right. So, last year, did you start the rubber tire series?
Yeah, last year I started the rubber tire series. I was gonna start a couple of years before, but the Mad series beat me to it. But I waited for them to, hang it up and see what what their plans were before I would kind of start a series in this area, because I didn't want to step on their toes. Because with all the tracks doing big events, and you get too many big events and series in the area, kind of the tracks, their entries get really small, and I didn't really want to affect the tracks starting at the same time as the
right
series. So,
and that's admirable. I mean, I think that's something we definitely struggle with here. I've said it numerous times on this show that we're so lucky that we have so many tracks in our general area. And do you live up here, or do you just work up here?
I live in actually Carlisle.
Yeah. So you're in the heart of Central PA racing, and West Virginia, like I said, seems like it's super far away, but it's not. You can totally make that drive there and back in a day with ease. So, I mean, honestly, it's not far off of some of the other popular tracks in the area for me, and we still consider them home tracks. So, we consider Loco Joe's part of the home track group here. With the series, so you ran that last year. You were the only series, I think, in the area last year.
Mm-hmm.
Traveled around. You got to how many tracks was it total?
8 tracks total.
8, yep. I thought it was either 7 or 8, and I think you really spread it out too. You got to Staubs for one of them.
Yep.
Which, I mean, Staubs is kind of like its own thing, it feels like, and certainly, I know Scott's not like the biggest fan of rubber tire stuff, so for you to bring a whole rubber tire series there is really telling. And
yeah, he was very welcome. He really liked it there, and he wanted us to come back. So, I think Scott a lot.
Awesome, yeah, and Staubs being the only high bite track, in the PA part, really, I mean, we talked to Ultimate a few episodes back, and now he's kind of teetering to the high bite stuff, and mentioned that it's super hard to have a consistent loose dirt surface, and that's where, like, technically a loose dirt track is going to pack in at some point, unless you're sitting there and you're going to cut it up in the middle of a race, which nobody's going to do. It's going to pack down at some point. And I think Garrett mentioned that too. So it's like, really, I think there's not that much of a difference in the surface as, what maybe it's perceived to be.
Yeah. I mean, like down there in my track, it's all red clay. There ain't no topsoil, so it doesn't, you don't really lose much traction. Sometimes it can be a headache, but you learn the clay as it goes. We put new clay on. Last year we put 2 triaxle loads on there, so I'm learning the clay at the same time. The old clay, I had that thing mastered, but this new clay's give me a little tricky sometimes. But.
Right, and I mean, one thing I will say about the first time I was down there is you guys have some awesome track working apparatuses. Like,
yeah,
your equipment down there is super cool. Like, you guys have some awesome stuff that you can tell, like, whoever fashioned that stuff knew, like, what tools to create for working that track.
Yeah, we I learned a lot of that back when I helped a guy with his high bike track a long time ago. Actually used to be a track up in Port Royal.
Okay.
In the middle of the speedway.
Oh, wow.
It was a high bike. I helped him for a couple of years. But they closed that down. But that's where I learned a lot of the stuff. So
that's awesome, man. And I guess, it might be controversial, but we can address, like, the rubber tire series. I know, you kind of hung that up this year. I don't know if you want to go into that at all. And
yeah, I'll go into it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. What made you stop the series this year?
There was many different reasons. One was the I don't want to say drama, but criticism that went into it. I do this for fun. I don't make much money. A lot of the tracks the year before, I gave a lot of the profit to the tracks because, I wasn't in for money. I was there for fun and give the racers something to do.
Right.
So me dealing with all that drama or criticism, when you're trying to make something better for the racers. For instance, like the year before, a lot of racers were complaining because we had 75 boosted and we had mod, and they were pretty much similar.
Right.
Especially a lot of tracks around here are small.
Right.
And a lot of guys turn their mod motors down, which you're pretty much around the same time as a 75. Some guys can take 75 and be competitive.
Right.
So I was looking at it. I did a lot of testing at my track and see what would be something better to kind of separate them time-wise. I did a 21.5. I felt like it was too slow. I did a 75 Blinky, which was a little bit faster, but I think in that point in time, or that point of motor, or that kind of motor, that you have control of it. You can learn that car a lot better. And I tried to push that out there to do it this year because a lot of people were complaining about it the year before.
Right.
So I tried to justify it and try to fix it.
Right.
And, well, it kind of backfired on me. And some of the people that were saying about it last year are the ones that were kind of criticizing.
Yeah.
So it really, I'm not here to have that in my life.
Right.
I'm doing it for
you
fun.
Shouldn't have to. Yeah, I mean, you put a ton of work into the series the year before to run. I mean, everybody saw the Underdog series this year run, and with that being 4 races, you can imagine the workload that does, but to double that in a year, in a season, is crazy. And that was your first time running the series, and you kind of like went, balls to the wall. And did you have anybody helping you with the series?
This is my wife, Gary Martin did tech. We had a few people at the beginning, Ed and Dale Welks. They helped at the beginning, but they had more things they had to do. Ed went to LCRC to help up there, and
Right.
Dale kind of had some other things. But greatly appreciate everyone's help.
Yeah, for sure. And
Gary, he was kind of, and he's up in the age, so the heat and everything kind of got to him
right.
a lot of times. But man, he stuck it out.
Yeah, and for all of that work to be put into it and do your first season, it's like, yeah, people can critique things and offer constructive criticism, but I feel like a lot of us online will just resort to how can we rip this to shreds. And I don't know if it's this like empowerment that we get off of social media or what it really is, but everybody like rained down on you for making a suggestion of changing, one class around and maneuvering it just for your series. You're not asking the entire state of Pennsylvania and the entire state of West Virginia to switch their rules or do this or do that. I can say constructively, and I'm not saying this to single anybody out or anything like that, but the 13.5 sprint class was started this past year, and I know plenty of drivers that ran the factory over the winter and then are regulars at our track and were prepared to run 17.5 because that's what we ran up until the underdog race. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, my 17.5 isn't worth anything anymore. Like this, it's not, I'm not going to run mod with a 17.5 necessarily, and some of those drivers they changed, and run mod with that. And that's fine. But now you're taking somebody that's just jumping into a sprint car, and now they're, either their choices are go buy a 13.5 just stock combo or, basically run with mod, which is supposed to be all the good guys. Yep. So I definitely saw your perspective, and like you said, it makes more sense with the lap times. Like you suggested 21.5 because it is slower, and that's what we want out of 13.5. You don't want 13.5 to be, some class that the expert guys can just run and tear everything up because they know the setups better than anybody in that. You want to encourage people not to stay in that class and move up. And I think that's a really good way to do it because, like you said, the 13.5 and the 17.5 aren't that far off. So I commend you for what you do for the community. And, I certainly hope that, you find the fun in it in other ways if it's not running the series and stuff like that. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that ran the series that would tell you that, thank you for your efforts.
Like when I first came out with the 17.5, I wasn't asking everyone to, go buy a whole new combo. It was going to be a 17.5 just stock system. Right. To really slow it down. I mean, it wasn't like slow really down, but it was going to slow down some. But it's just all that over just buying a 17.5 when everyone spends money on it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you have a 13.5 just stock combo that you're running in the 13.5 sprint class, all you got to do is buy the stock 17.5. I keep saying 21.5 because we were talking about 21.5. But like the stock, just stock 17.5, which, I mean, I don't even think they're very expensive at all.
They're not. I mean,
we certainly spend money everywhere else in the hobby. So,
But I mean, it was a great idea I had. I thought I had, and I ran with it, and it just didn't pan out.
Yeah. And, certainly not every idea is going to ever pan out, but
But it was like a lot of guys messaged me after they seen that I switched it to 75, and they're all excited because a lot of them were like, "Oh, I'll get back into sprint cars," because I didn't like the 13.5.
right.
Stuff like that, and I was excited at that point.
Right.
I probably had about 10 or so people message me about it, so I thought I was going the right direction.
Right. And then the wall of opposition
Yeah.
comes crashing down. Yeah, and I think if anything that we can take away from this podcast and this part of this discussion is like, we're all in this together ultimately. Like if you're a track owner or you're a racer or whatever, we're all trying to basically provide something complementary to the hobby. And certainly you were with the series, you do with your track. I've been down there. It's a great experience. It's fun. It's very relaxed. I didn't see one person that was getting irritable with anybody else that entire time we were down there. Now, granted, this weekend coming up is going to be a completely different ball game because it's going to be overloaded with people, and I have not been at your track when it's overloaded with people. But let's talk about the Bunker Hill Nationals.
Yeah, it's going to be every year. When I first started, we started. I think it was like 20 some entries, somewhere around there. Every year it grows. Besides last year, we had rain in the forecast, and you know how that does, especially outdoor tracks. People get scared and they don't want to. Especially, I had a lot of guys traveling, which I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I had probably 4 or 5 guys traveling about 5-6 hours, so I don't blame them.
Right.
But it seems like every year it's growing. This year we're off to a good start. I'm already up to, I think, 50 some entries already pre-sign up. So
Heck yeah.
So it's looking pretty good. A lot of guys, for some reason, don't like to pre-sign up, but that's fine. I mean, it is what it is.
I haven't yet. So don't hate me.
No. But, Scott keeps things moving. He ran a promoter up there at El Cobb. Unfortunately, that track closed, but the track was awesome.
For sure.
But Scott keeps things moving. He's been running the program for the last, I say, 3 years. He's been doing it.
Okay.
So he keeps everything moving. We get the show in and we get it done and go home.
Awesome.
We also have a good time. Like this year, Friday, we plan on doing practice, have some campfire, have some s'mores, just hang around. And
I'm excited
time.
for that.
So, tried new things. We tried previous times to do a campfire, but sometimes it gets too windy.
Yeah, I say we, the Souder family and my family are coming down, and we found a campground like local to you guys by the track, and it's like $30 a night to stay in your camper. So we're, bringing all the dogs, bringing the whole family down.
Yeah.
We got a good group of our regular racers, I think, coming down too to help support and be a part of the show. What all classes are you running?
We're running our usual local classes. We run short course street stock, buggy street stock. We're doing the Traxxas modified. We're also doing mod sprint, 360 sprint, which is the 13.5, just stock system. Let's see, we're doing U15, which is sponsored by Emily Souder,
Oh, awesome.
which is awesome in the family. There's also mod sprint or late model. I feel like I'm missing something.
They can find it all on the
Yeah, they
the
can all
Facebook.
find on Facebook.
So there's a Bunker Hill Nationals Facebook group, I believe, and then that has the rules, and then I think there's an actual like event for the Bunker Hill Nationals. But then you said that they can pre-register. How do they do that?
Right on our regular page for the Bunker Hill, it's a job form. You just go on there, click on it, fill it out, and it sends me all the information.
Perfect.
If you don't have to pay right at the moment, but I will send emails out if you want to pay with a credit card. You're more than welcome to. Otherwise, you could pay at the track. Same deal for pre-registration. You get it for the $20 for the first class, and so on.
35 for the second.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if you do it on there, what the whole purpose is to get everyone in the computer, so we don't have to do it on race day.
Right.
It kind of saves us more time.
Right.
Paying part is not the biggest part, or the biggest problem is just getting everyone in the computer. So Scott ain't wasting his time trying to get everyone in there.
Right. So if you're planning on going there this weekend, make sure you go to the Facebook page for Bunker Hill Nationals, fill out that pre-registration form today, and then it'll be ready to go for tomorrow, and they can pay, tomorrow or are you charging anything for the practice Friday night?
No, I'm not charging anything for practice. The only thing I am asking is if you're there to practice, do your registration and everything before you go on the track to practice.
There you go. Perfect. Easy deal. Love it. What would you say makes this race special and different? What can people look forward to and get out of this race?
Like you said before, you've been down there. We are pretty much a family atmosphere. We try to have fun. I don't like any arguing. I like to make it fun and enjoyable. Also, you get some nice hardware.
Right. Good plug there.
So, I mean, I got a little proof of the awards. Looking nice.
Awesome. I'm glad you like them, man. Raptor Awards coming through.
Yeah, always does.
Just doing what we can.
Sponsors, I mean, we got a lot of sponsors this year. Can't thank them enough. So it's coming along pretty good. Everyone's getting excited. Gary's getting ready to do tech, and we got all our tech equipment and everything else. We got our templates and motor machines, so we can test motors.
Very cool.
It costs a lot of money, but gotta make sure everyone's on the same playing field.
I absolutely agree. I feel personally at our track we got really lax this year, and it's for reasons outside of the box on it. But regardless, it's something that I really want to focus on for next year is really bringing that back because, if you're racing without respecting the rules or you're not trying to enforce the rules, and there's a whole lot of gray area there.
Yeah, that's one thing I take pretty serious.
For sure.
Especially at a big event. Like our local races, we kind of relax a little bit on it.
Right.
We just kind of check batteries every once in a while and make sure everyone's at the 844 max. And,
Right.
But like mod guys, you guys don't have to worry about any teching really. Besides your bodies, make sure your rake the rake is right on your late models because we do test those or check those. Otherwise batteries and stuff like that, we're not checking them. They're free game. That's what mod's for.
Right. If you want to burn it up, burn it up.
Have at it.
It's on you.
So it's a big track, so
right.
Mod cars fly.
Right. I haven't seen mod sprints there yet. I ran the mod late model, but
it's crazy.
I'm excited for it.
We had some last weekend. Well, this past points race, and sprints are doing wheelies straight away.
Oh yeah, so, very cool.
It's something fun to watch. But when they hit the wall, the cars come off in pieces.
Right.
I mean, Kyle Loy. He every year he's down there. He always tends to go out of the track and smack the trailer. So.
Man, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta
send
it some way.
Yep.
So we'll end on this. Again, Me personally, I encourage everybody out there, if you can make it, take the trip down there this Saturday. It's a wonderful track. It's a great atmosphere. It's a good time. Lots of good people down there, and it's a nice area. It's super chill. You have an awesome hobby store on site. Your dad runs
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, he owns the hobby shop.
Again, thank you so much, and if anybody has any questions or anything, they know how to reach you through Loco Joe's RC Raceway on Facebook, and we'll get you back here on that again, talk about some more stuff.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks again to Jeff for that interview and all the insight that he provided. Hope that everybody can get out to Loco Joe's this weekend for the Bunker Hill Nationals. Let's go over some results from this past week. Ultimate's COVID cancer race. We'll go over that Saturday race. The results: 13.5 Mudboss, and all of the winners got, I believe, $125. So pretty cool payouts for all the winners there. But 13.5 Mudboss. Travis Unglert was third. Kurt Rainey was second, and Mike O'Brien got the win. 13.5 Sprint. Perry Hutter was in third. Brian Stout was second, and Kevin Kuzer was first. Midget was Matt Kirkpatrick in third, John Pauly in second, Phil Marabella got the win. Outlaw EDM, Kenny Fisher was third, James Henry was second, and Aaron Miller was first. Outlaw Sprint, Cameron Fleur was third, Phil Marabella was second, and Chris Klein got the win. And in stock Mudboss, that was Mike Saladay and third, Travis Unglert in second, and Mike O'Brien got the win. Saturday, Staub Brothers RC Raceway had their final race of the season. 17.5 Sprint, John Berkebile was third, Todd Little was second, and Dwayne Wenzel was first. 21.5 Late Model, Mike Reinhardt was third, Gary Martin was second, and Robert Burry got the win. 13.5 Mudboss, Jeff Zinn was third, John Berkebile was second, and Nathan Beard was first. Midget was Louis Pavlovec in second, and Casey Hess got the win. 17.5 Late Model, Justin Bankert was third. Dan Shaper was second, and Guy Intellisano was first. Sportsman Mudboss was Emily Souder in third, Jackson Reaver in second, and Junior Reaver got the win. First Capital ran on Sunday. Light turnout, I think, with the COVID cancer race plus some weather breaking finally for us. That it always makes it tough for tracks. I think we struggle when there's a long period of rain, because I know people can't mow their lawns for 2 to 3 weeks sometimes with these rain spells. So, it's nice to see the tracks having people turn out either way though. So Sunday, 13.5 Mudboss was Joe Schrader in second, Brian Hughes first. 13.5 Sprint was Brian Hughes in third, Joe Schrader second, and I got the win. Bandit Late Model was Justin Mong second, Justin Mong third, Barney Tan second, and Sean Good got the win. Great Late, Emily Souder was third, Barney Tan was second, and Landon Godfrey got the win. Mudboss third was Mike Yasovsky, I was second, and Joe Schrader got the win. I actually drove Archer's car in that race. Novice Sarah Zeller was third, Archer Zeller was second, and Emily Souder got the win. Traxxas Modified, I was third, Mike Yasovsky was second, and Barney Tan was first. We also raced this Wednesday. There was no racing at Pheasantland Tuesday, and they are scheduled this Friday, but no results from Tuesday from Pheasantland. So we'll just move right to First Capital for Wednesday. 13.5 Mudboss, Brian Hughes was third, Lucas Montgomery was second, and Chris Speidel was first. 13.5 Sprint, Andy Zeller was third, myself, Justin Albright second, and Brian Hughes first. Rally, Brian Hughes was third, Roy DeNike was second, and Justin Albright was first. Crate Late, Barney Tan was third, Landon Godfrey was second, and Justin Albright was first. Midget, Owen Wise was third, Chris Speidel was second, and Rowdy Hefner was first. Late Model, we ran, this is actually one I want to pause on. Late Model, we ran for the first time Bandit Late Models with the Mod Late Models side by side. I think that's a package we're going to work on trying to fix for next year. And I say fix by just finding a good motor package that's equivalent between like a BL2 and say like a 13.5 just stock, or if the 17.5 on a just stock ESC, whichever of those is more comparable to the BL2, so that we can basically have one late model class and join those cars together. So we did that as a trial this Wednesday, and I think there were two Bandit late model drivers and 3 Mod late model drivers. So in that, Matthew Burry was third. He had a Mod late model. Sean Good was second in a Bandit late model, and Justin Albright was first in a Mod late model. So again, difference in motor packages there between the different cars, but Sean Good actually in the Bandit had the quickest single lap time in that race, and was certainly, if he wouldn't have had a mix up there at the beginning of the race, certainly would have gave Justin something for his money there at any point. He was right with him. So just a cool thing to see, and we'll expand on that. I'm sure I'll have some sort of episode that goes into different stuff like that. But moving along with the results, Mudboss, Tim Beyer was third, Joe Schrader was second, and Chris Speidel got the win. Novice, Barry Arnst was third, Riley Speidel was second, and Cody Fiddler got the win. Traxxas Modified, Roy Denike was third, Mike Kosovsky was second, and Barney Tan got the win. Moving to Thursday, Ultimate RC ran 13.5 Mudboss. Third was Mike Saladay, second Jim McKeon, and first Matt Kirkpatrick. 13.5 Sprint, Keith Fletcher was third, Kyle Horning was second, and Kevin Kuzer was first. 17.5 Sprint, George Vardzik was third, Phil Marabella was second, and James Henry got the win. Crate Late, Brock Miller was third, Matt Kirkpatrick was second, and Glenn Killian was first. Midget, Dennis McKeon was third, James Henry was second, and Matt Kirkpatrick got the win. Mod Late Model, Richard Reyes was third. Mike Kritzer was second, and Joshua Truitt was first. Mudboss, Richard Reyes was third, Joshua Truitt was second, and Mike Kritzer was first. So a little shuffle in there in finishing order between the same drivers. Novice, Tim Diebler was second, and Ed Wise was first. Mudboss, Kerry Siegfried was third, Aaron Rochon was second, and Mike Saladay got the win. Traxxas Modified, Richard Reyes was third, Joshua Truitt second, and Kerry Siegfried got the win. Looking forward to this weekend. Obviously, Jeff was the guest on this episode because of Loco Joe's Bunker Hill Nationals. Practice will start at 1 today and go till 6:30 when they rework the track. Saturday, the racing will begin somewhere around 11 o'clock. The driver's meeting, I believe, is from 10:30 to 10:45. So shortly after that, they'll begin racing. It's 2 4-minute rounds, then a rocket round, and 4-minute main and 2-minute lower mains. So I know a lot of people pre-registered to that race, so it should be a great crowd. There's a huge chunk of us from up here in PA heading down together, and we're going to pit together. And best of luck to everybody going down, and hope to see all of you there. I'll be down there racing as well. The Custom Works Dixie Nationals presented by Ghost at Beach RC in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina started Thursday. The seating round began Thursday. It actually started Wednesday. There was a prelude Wednesday, but they started the seating round Thursday, and that will continue on through this weekend. So best of luck to any PA drivers that made the trip down to Myrtle Beach and running some foam tire fun down there at the Dixie Nationals. Pheasantland will be racing tonight. Doors open at 5. Racing starts at 7, and they will be racing a big race or a big track night race on Saturday. Doors open at 3, and racing starts at 4. Again, thank you guys so much for all of your support on this channel. We appreciate it. I'm sure all my guests are appreciative of any following that we can gather on this, so that we get a chance to introduce these guests to new people. And obviously your participation will be greatly appreciated and encouraged. Still looking for people to participate in a episode centered around Traxxas stuff. I really would like to do a deep dive into that. I think it's something that we definitely have some mixed opinions on in this hobby, and it would just be nice to get them out and, figure out some common ground and maybe some gray area in between that gets everybody over it. Other than that, I hope everybody has a great weekend, whatever you do. Best of our prayers and wishes to our neighbors down south. Hurricane season has not fared well so far for the south, and we're hoping that everything gets squared away and everybody stays safe and evacuates when they're in need of evacuation. And we are praying for you all the time. If there are ways that we are able to help, whether it's donation or time or supplies, be sure to do whatever you can to support people that are going through these crises. So love your neighbors, and I love you guys all out there. Thank you so much for watching, and until next week, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.